Okay, here we are, back home, back in, I was going to say Blighty. I hate it when people say that. Why do people say that? Back in Blighty. It's some term that means Britain, but I've got no idea why. I can't Google this early in the episode, can I? Yeah, I guess I can, because otherwise it's going to be on the back of my mind, and yours probably. Let's have a look here. Why do we say Blighty? If you're listening from abroad, it's what we say in Britain. For some reason, it's like a nickname for Britain, I think. Blighty is a nostalgic nickname for Britain that originated during the British Raj in India. It comes from the Urdu word, which I can't pronounce, meaning foreign or European. Which British soldiers stationed abroad mispronounced and adapted into Blighty. Right, so it's a bit like when you see like an old sports commentator and they can't quite get the foreign player's name right. So it just comes across as a bit ignorant. So Blighty's got some weird connotations then. It's sort of us mispronouncing an Indian word. I'll leave it. Back in England, back in London, will do the job. So here I am. I got back, so it's, what day is it? Sunday. I got back on Friday. I thought I was getting back on Thursday. And then I even walked past a restaurant where I was staying, near where I was staying, and it said Taco Tuesday. And it had loads of signs out for Taco Tuesday, and I thought, oh, could do that. Didn't in the end. Didn't really like the vibe of the place, but it was Taco Tuesday. And then I woke up the next day. I was going to cancel my cleaner coming because she comes on a Thursday. And I thought, I'm going to be sleeping, I'm going to be jet lagged. And either it's going to be awkward that she'll come at midday. I land at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'd get back and sleep, and then you'd feel pressured to sleep before she gets here. Or what if you oversleep and she's here? I thought I'd just cancel it. Anyway, I woke up in the morning and she'd already texted me because England's 5 hours ahead. And she'd said, all was clean and something to do with some cobwebs on Richard Parker's face. And something else I can't quite remember. But I was so confused. And I thought, oh, right, yeah, no. This is Thursday. And I'm flying home tonight. I'm going to get back on Friday. But my cat sitter, I told her I'll be back on Thursday morning. So then I had a message from her saying, everything's done. He's great. Something, whatever. I can't remember what she said. But luckily, before I went away, I'd said to her, don't leave the keys on the side. Take them just in case anything happens. Luckily. Because the thing that happened was I was coming back a day later. So luckily she was fine. And she loves him. Lisa, the cat sitter. She's a vet nurse. And she loves him. So when I'm away, don't worry about him at all. I have sometimes with other people been a bit concerned. But she's so good and he loves her. So he was very happy. And so was I. So the holiday, I spoke sort of halfway through it to you from a balcony. Turns out you could hear all the sound in the background. Genuinely, none of that sound happened throughout the other 4 nights that I was there. However, during the half an hour that I sat down to record the episode, it was like I was in Grand Theft Auto. No idea what happened. Maybe it's, what day would that have been? A Sunday. Maybe it's Sunday's like a car meet day. So it was like all the boy racers in their cars and then the police sort of patrolling to let them know they're around. Might have been that. I wasn't there for 2 Sundays to check. But I was in a cool place. In fact, I recorded a video there, which was future historians describing a hotel room from 2026. And somebody replied so quickly to say, are you at the Seagate? The name of my hotel. She'd got that just from a few shots of me in the hotel room. I didn't reply, obviously. because I was staying there for 4 more nights. I just didn't think anyone would be able to pick up on that. But I was worried when I was going to go down in the lift, the elevator. The elevators would open. It'd be like the Beatles. But nobody turned up. But lovely place. Quite misleading on the website, because it has the hotel, and then you can see a shot outside the hotel of the pool overlooking the beach. However, what they've got is a beach club. So you stay at this hotel. It's not a far walk. There is a shuttle. I would walk there to the beach and then get the shuttle back when you've got sand in your feet and stuff. Or one day there was a storm so bad that they had to put, it was called a double red flag warning. Meant there's lightning in the area, which you could see. They have this sort of app thing, they track the lightning. Didn't need any technology. You could just look with your eyes, see the lightning in the background. But it's cool there because it's still hot. You just see the lightning in the background, and the sky is so big there because there's no high-rise buildings. So you can see and it's flat, obviously. So you can see so much sky. So you can see the dark clouds few miles away, and you go, oh right, yeah, probably got about half an hour till that hits us. So you just sort of relax for 20 minutes and then sort of slowly start to make your way in. And then it was torrential. Lovely. I don't mind that. If you're not caught in it, I like a big rain. So and in America it's like a big rain, and then it lasts for about half an hour to an hour, and then it's gone again, and it's still hot. It's lovely, but the lightning was crazy. But yeah, no, I quite like that. I love the film Twister. Was that 97? What year did Twister come out? 96, 97? Let's have a look. A couple of Googles this episode early on. I like to know which year films come out. I was actually with my friend last night, and what film? Actually, let me just do this first. What year did Twister come out? And we were playing this game, but what year did films come out? 96. I did say that, didn't I? I said 97, and maybe it's 96. However, you do sometimes, because of that era, you do have to check the year for US and UK release, because it was a bit different. And that happened last night. We were talking about Titanic, and he said, what year did that come out? And then he said, I guessed 98. Well, I didn't guess, I knew it was 98. And then he said, no, 97. And I put UK release date, and he did, and he went, yeah, it was 98. January, I think, that's how it happened. I love it. I love knowing the years the film came out. Don't know why. One year we really struggled with, though, was 1997. With what films came out in 1997. I ended up getting one, Men in Black. But 99's got some big ones. Disney seems to be the go-to that people would use, because I guess it was like people's childhood back then, where they would remember in the films that came out. And that's often what people use, Disney. And obviously I'd been to the parks. I hadn't actually been to the parks. I'd been to the area where the parks are. Didn't go to any of the parks in Orlando. Let's get on with the holiday. So, I will say this. Started with a flight. As you know, I think I said on the episode before last that I was flying out. As a surprise, I took my niece, but my niece is an adult. So my niece and her partner, and they're twins. Because my sister was already out there, but she didn't know that her daughter and now grandchildren were all coming. So that was a surprise. So we all met up at the airport, and it was very nice, because I'd see a few people looking over at me. And it's nice, you get that sort of way of being recognised, where people just sort of look at you, and then usually you'll see them sort of pick up their phone and sort of start to show the person they're with. But me and my great nephew, Roman. Oh, should I name them? I won't name him again. I won't name his sister. We were dressed the same. Exactly the same. So I had a blue t-shirt on, navy blue t-shirt. I was actually just wearing a navy blue t-shirt until about 10 minutes ago, and I changed it because I wore one on here once, and somebody DM'd me on Instagram saying that they didn't like it. They used to have me in only white t-shirts or sometimes black, so I put a white one on for now. However, for the flight, I wore a navy blue t-shirt, because you'll be eating it. And you think if you spill something down yourself, a cup of tea or something early on, you've got to sit with that stain for hours. So, navy blue t-shirt, good for travelling. Why not black? Good question. I know why. I travelled for the first time, and I found it a bit of a revelation, in shorts. Usually I'm worried that the plane's going to get cold, and it's a gamble you take when you take a flight. Are you going to be cold up there, or boiling/broiling, for the long-time listeners, hot? So I thought, what if you do shorts? Because I was going to wear tracksuit bottoms, but I thought, well, I've not worn tracksuit bottoms in weeks because there's a heat wave and a drought. So, and I'm turning up to Florida. So the whole idea of even putting them on was a bit strange. So I thought, well, you get a blanket. So what if I go in shorts? So I've got these new, really comfortable Nike shorts, and I bought a pair, liked them so much, I've now got them in 4 colours, 5 pairs in 4 colours. I've got 2 greens. So I've got them in a grey, a light grey, a navy blue, 2 greens. I thought the navy blue one you can wear because, again, spilling stuff. The grey one's a bit risky. Now, this did slightly worry me that I was wearing now a t-shirt that matched my shorts. And there's a type of British person you see going on holiday that wears a slight sort of... If they do it with like a baby blue t-shirt, it's a bit of a vibe, or grey and grey. You have to... It can look a bit wrong anyway. I did navy blue, and thought that looked smart enough. Did do it with just socks and then Birkenstocks for comfort on the plane. I've become quite an expert at travelling. Anyway, my nephew, he decided, well, he probably hadn't decided, he's 2, but his mum had decided to dress him exactly the same as me. So, what I mean by that is, I was holding his hand at one point, walking along, and it looked like I have a secret son that I've never posted about. Which I don't, just to be clear. Anyway, on the flight, I wanted to... It was a day flight, and Florida's only 5 hours behind. So really, you just think of it as an elongated down. I was trying to teach my niece and her partner this. I was saying, all you have to do now is, before we get on the plane, the flight was at 10:45 in the morning, is start thinking what time it is in Florida. It's 5:45. So we're quite tired because we've got up to come here. Imagine it's 5:45. So you've been up early, have a bit of a nap on the plane because you've had a long day. And then when you get there, it won't be too crazy. Obviously, it's hard to explain that to 2-year-olds. And also, they were sat there looking after twins and I wasn't. So it's a bit easier for me. So I thought, I'll just watch a film. I hadn't quite been able to sleep. I actually first film I watched was, what's it called? Fast and Furious. I've not seen it since it probably came out. And I thought, let me give that a watch, just because I remember watching it when I was in Canada with my friends, and my friend Joe telling me that I think it must have been about the time he'd just started to drive. So he said that, was it him or Mark told me that if you pulled up to like a red light around this time in Calgary, and like revved your engine, or someone around your age revved an engine, you'd know that you were going to sort of have a little bit of a race off the traffic lights. Not safe, but, fun. And that was the whole world. So people wanted those cars. So even though automatic cars are very big in North America, I think everyone wanted to drive. Do they call that stick? Or do they call automatic stick? Probably they call manual stick. And I wasn't used to it because it was just all I knew. Well, I didn't drive at all, but that was like the whole culture. So I thought I'd watch it, and it's just so funny because the film is, I think, like 25 years old, 23. Well, now I've got myself thinking, talking about the year that films came out. What am I going to guess here? Fast and Furious. I'm going to go 2003. 23 years ago. Yeah. Let me have a look. Let's have a look. I'm going to go 2003. Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious. 2001. 2001. Was it really? Wow. Really? So it came out in 2001. I wonder what month. Just thinking about other stuff that happened that year. Fast and Furious release date. Release date. No. Can't find the release date. Fast and Furious. Release date. June 22nd, 2001. Slightly more innocent times, just for a couple of months, but yeah, so I was asking that? Oh yeah, because it dated a bit. It's 25 years old then, 25 years ago. So it's like watching a film then from like the 70s. So in 2001, minus 25 years, it's like watching a film from the mid-70s. Is that right? So the dating of it was crazy. So technology or whatever, just looking not great in it. But also like the way people were dressed, the way they spoke. It was like, yeah, me back then watching a film that my parents watched when they were young. And yeah, it was good fun. But then I started watching Marty Supreme. And I'll be honest, I wasn't that bothered about the whole film. I thought it was pushed too much and that would put me off, stuff like that. So I thought, I'll just watch that. And have you ever had it where you don't quite want to sleep, but your body's tired? So you've actually got one eye closed and one eye open. And I was like fighting to stay awake. Not because of the film, but because of my tiredness. But also, I was within about the first 20 minutes, I was like, I can't watch this here. I'm going to wait till I get home on the TV and something to look forward to when you get home. So I'm going to watch it tonight. Some popcorn and watch Marty Supreme, because I was 25 minutes in and I was like, this is great, really good, really impressed. I think he's great anyway. I think he's got quite bad PR, I think, in what he does himself. It's too much. You don't need to do that. People clearly like you and like what you do. I'm just going to move the camera down a bit for those watching. I feel it's a bit tiny in it. There we go. I think he's a great actor. I think the Oscars I think they wouldn't have given him the Oscar because it was too much of an Oscar, what do they call it? Push or whatever. It was too much. If you'd put out that film and then gone quiet, done a little bit of promo, but not a lot, I think that's more exciting than you standing on top of a big orange sphere. I think it's a little bit too try hard. You don't have to be that. You're a great actor, is what I tell him. But I don't work in PR. And probably the opposite of what PR should do, I guess, isn't it? They're supposed to get your name out there. And it would be me going, let's stop getting your name out there, actually, Timothy. But I think he's great. I remember watching him in Lady Bird. And watched it at the Picture House in Clapham. And I just thought, he's only in it for a bit. I like Saoirse Ronan anyway, and then and I like Greta Gerwig. Frances Ha is a great film. So I went to see Lady Bird, which I think she sort of made it as though it's a prequel, slightly. An idea that it could be a prequel to Frances Ha. Anyway, he's only in it for I think just like one or two scenes, but God, I was like, who the hell's that? He's brilliant. No, he's massive, obviously, but no, I like him a lot. I don't actually think there's any actor that would sort of get me to leave my house and go to the cinema. I think that's sort of gone now. The closest I'd get to that would be Christopher Nolan, or Quentin Tarantino. Probably Quentin Tarantino because his films are more stretched out, so it feels like even more of an event than a Christopher Nolan film, but I've not gone to see The Odyssey yet. But I think I will. But Usually I'd have no interest in a film like that. I never saw Troy. I don't think you can really compare the two, but it is the same story-ish, I guess. Trojan horse and all that. But yeah, I'll go and see it. But again, if it wasn't him, I wouldn't bother. If it wasn't him, I'd I'd have very little interest. But I'll always go and see. I think I've seen all of his. No, not all of his films in the cinema. All of them since 2008, Dark Knight. And that was 2008. And then Dark Knight Rises was 2012. And then in the middle of that, he did Inception. Cool. What a run. Didn't like Tenet. Did not understand what I was watching there. Anyway. Sorry, 21 minutes in. It's supposed to be an episode about my holiday, and I'm not even off the plane. Flight was good. Anyway, let's get to Florida. Lovely place they were staying. My sister and her husband had rented a villa. It was like a gated community that backed onto a golf course. And luckily, that golf course, the one that there was 3 golf courses that were around this area. That one was shut down for the week while they did maintenance. So not a single person came past playing. So you didn't feel overlooked in the pool. So nice. Went down to Mount Dora. And Mount Dora is somewhere I used to go when I was younger. When we would go on family holidays. So it turns out I couldn't figure out how on earth my parents had found it. If we're 22 minutes in, I need to have a sip of my tea, because otherwise that's going to get quite cold. I do also need to, how's that going to go? I'm balancing the mug on my lap. Turn it around, because otherwise you can't see it says that the Monday is on there. So Mount Dora is a place I used to go with my parents when we were younger. And it turns out, and my sisters, it turns out when we would go to Orlando, because my mum works for American Airlines, the flight tickets were free or very cheap. Then I guess their only real expense was the tickets to the parks, because they would stay in a villa that was like an hour out and away. Because I remember going to the parks was always a big drive. So I think they must have been staying near down by Mount Dora. I think, I know. And that's how they discovered this little place. So we went down there. It was a trip down memory lane. And I just remember you'd go there and you could walk along this sort of boardwalk, and there'd be alligators. You'd see the alligators out in the water. And we did. We drove down. Lovely to be there. I was walking along, looked up at one house, and there was a huge, I don't know if it was like a type of eagle, just sat on someone's, like, sort of banister bit. Is it a banister? If it's outside and overlook, it's like they had a balcony, and it was like sat on that bit, just overlooking. I wonder if I could put, because this is a holiday episode. Let me put some footage in when I reference stuff. Yeah, let me do a bit of work here, because I'm at home. Right, so 24 minutes in, probably about 23:50 that, wasn't it? I'll put the video of the of the bird, and I'll try and remember to put some stuff in as I go. Bird in Mount Dora. So Mount Dora was great fun, and then we went there, and as we started to do the walk, this man said, guy came past. He was wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers shirt, and he had a similar walking stick to the guy from Up. And he walked past. He said, if you do the boardwalk, look over, when there's a bench, look over. The biggest alligator in Mount Dora is asleep under there. I think I told you this on last week's episode, didn't I? Because then I said, I'll stay here, then you didn't get the joke. Anyway, I'll put that video in as well. Show you this big 24:59 alligator. And then there's another one I'll put straight after, which is, as we were walking back, saw another alligator. I'll put that in as well. Swimming across the water. This is on YouTube, by the way, if you're watching. No more Spotify video for a while, but YouTube to check out some footage. That was great to see. And then walked around Mount Dora. Lovely lady walked past me. Lovely videos. A local from Mount Dora. The idea that I used to go to this place when I was a child, and that now I'm walking back down those same streets and a local is just casually saying that she's like a fan, I guess. That's crazy. That would blow my little mind. Blow my big mind. Or just mind. But had some good food there as well. Had a brunch. An Argentinian place. Met a couple of Argentinians when I was there. But it was always good fun about the football. One of them, he worked in the bar by the pool that I was staying at in the second part of the holiday. And there was this really nice girl who worked there as well. What was her name? Dorothy? She was homeschooled until secondary school. Then she went to school. But she said she was homeschooled, therefore she travelled around a lot. So she got to go to London. She said she could only remember, a part of London she could remember. She said, the London Eye, she said, whereabouts in England is that? And I kept her straight face. I said, it's London. And then she realised what she had said. And she was like, called herself a klutz. Then she said, one thing I remember is we went to the busy train station. And I said, well, maybe that's Waterloo or Paddington. And every time I said one, she was like, it sounds about right, but not quite. And I was like, King's Cross. She was like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, they've got the Harry Potter thing through a wall. But then I don't know if it was pre or post Harry Potter anyway. It must have been post, but I didn't know. But then she said, that's it. It had an underground station. And I said, I think there's over 100 of them. But so I didn't know where it was. But then the guy that went there was Argentinian. He said, you won't like me. He said, I'm Argentinian. And she said, why? She said, was there a war? And I said, there was one in the 80s and there was one about 3 weeks ago. And then he laughed. And I had to explain to her that it was to do with the World Cup. And then I told them that the US team's manager is Argentinian, Mauricio Pochettino. They're both sort of glazed over them. But as I walked away, I could hear them both. Before I walked away, one of them said, how long are you here for? I said, I leave tomorrow. They went, oh, that's such a shame. We love talking to you. And I walked away and I could hear them both going, what? A lovely guy to talk to. That's so nice. So it's a shame I was going the next day. I would have made 2 friends. But how did I get to that bit? Argentinians, when I was in Mount Dora, I went to a restaurant that was, as they were serving us, the guy said, I'm Argentinian. But we had a bit of fun. They were very nice. And it was, I think, a thing that happens in America, where this young guy that served us was probably in his 20s, and his parents were Argentinians. So his dad really wanted to come out and meet us. And he told us how there'd been a Scottish family in there just a week or so before. He couldn't speak much. His son would translate. And I guess that's a part of it. His son is sort of first generation American, but his parents sort of still don't quite speak the language. He has to do a lot of translation and work at his parents' business. But it was really nice. Food was great. Then went to a cool sort of vintage shop. Walked around there for hours. I love stuff like that. I've got a video of that as well, so I can pop that in here. What minute are we on now? 29. Cool, blimey. I might have to do a part 2, because I've still got to do all your comments and messages. 29. Let's do about 29. What was that? Probably about 15. I'll put the video of the... I'll call it the thrift store. It was like that sort of thing. That was great. Loved going down to Mount Dora. And then I also... Shall I tell you this story? Okay, I've got Richard Parker looking at me from the back door. Let me just... As I've gone to do that, he's walked away. I think he's just realised the other back door's open, so he's going to try and go through there. So he might come in a minute. Anyway. Some people might find this next bit only... Maybe... I don't know exactly how it works with being triggered. Basically, we all went out to Denny's because that was something we used to do when we were younger. So I imagine if you live in America, you're going, why on earth would you go to Denny's? It's like a nostalgia thing. We know it's not good, but it's nice. It's what we would do when we were younger. Anyway, we went to Denny's And we're having a nice time. There's 15 of us. And then I noticed my niece and sister sort of having a bit of a conversation. I'd heard some sort of noise. It turned out there was a lady behind us who she'd been hitting her child. I'd sort of realised I'd heard the sound, but I hadn't realised what it was. So my niece got upset. And it was all a bit tense. And we were looking over, and I was looking over to really let the woman know, we've seen that and that's not okay. I wasn't sure what to do. My sister went and spoke to the staff there, and they said, well, you've referenced it, and if we notice anything happening, we can call the police, we can make a call. So it's all there. It's a bit awkward. I'm not sure whether I should say something, sort of keep looking over at the woman. She's there. It's the woman sat there. She's with her dad, I think, her eldest daughter. The next there was this young daughter, the one that she was hitting. And I thought her elder daughter was crying as she did it. But she was sort of slightly laughing. But I wasn't sure if she was just sort of a bit embarrassed. And also they were speaking Spanish. It was a different culture. So it's a bit awkward. But she was really hitting this girl. And obviously you're in public. So you go, what happens in private? Anyway, as we go up to leave, my mum, we just go out the table. My mum turns to this lady and gets right in her face, points at her, says, you should be ashamed of yourself. She's a child. Really tells her off like I would have been told off when I was a child. And I've never seen an adult shrink so quickly as this woman shrunk. She just shrunk back in, and my mum finished telling her off and just walked away. And I just heard the woman just go, sorry. She was like tiny. You could tell she was just thinking, what had just happened? Maybe no one had spoken to her like that, or maybe since she was a child, maybe, I don't know. But hopefully it made a difference, because it was a lot. But you could tell maybe she had a bit of a realisation. But yeah, good to see her be told off, and my mum tell someone else off, because it's only once or twice I was sort of on the receiving end of that. Not as much as my sisters would have been. I was the golden child, I guess. But yeah, great to see. Lovely. And then I went to Kennedy Space Centre. Now, what happens there is, I was on the website looking at all the things you can do at Kennedy Space Centre. And some of the things it says to do there, it says 7 hours. Allow 7 hours. For one event, allow 8 hours. That's a day's work. So I thought, I'm just going to pick some things that you can just sort of do. There's one of them called the Rocket Garden. It's all these rockets they've got, and they're sort of, it's like they're big trees, so you just go and look around them, and amazing. Love doing that. Looking around them all, reading about them all. And then, one thing is to do is don't miss out on Atlantis. Go and see Atlantis. Now, Atlantis is the, what do you call it? It's like a shuttle, space shuttle, I guess. So rather than the rocket that would sort of fall away, it's the one that maybe you'd sort of, you'd recognise it as, it basically takes off like a rocket, lands like a plane. So it looks like when it's on its side, it's got wings, and you'd recognise it anyway. There's a whole thing where you go into this big cinema auditorium bit, and they show you a film they've made, which is somebody coming up with the idea. They're like, we keep sending rockets to space. We need something, and this is to help build the International Space Station. Something that can take something up there and also come back. So they tried a few things, and it basically would explode within seconds, or it would overheat. So they attached the rocket to this like big canister thing that I think emptied in about 8 minutes of fuel. Then 2 rockets fell away, and that just sort of propelled it up. And it basically takes off like a rocket, glides, and lands like a plane. So they could do everything they wanted with it. And they show you how they're coming up with it. Then they make this film about them designing it, all the flaws, everything that goes wrong, and they're trying, and you're watching it on a huge screen, like an IMAX-esque screen. Stood in this room, and all the lights changing all around you. it's this amazing moment. You see the rocket the shuttle, sorry, come flying back to like it's a success. They did it. Here he comes, Richard Parker. But you've got food in there. You see it? Yeah. Got it? Good ball. It's right there. You can get to it. You can't quite see it, but it's right in front of him. There you go. Clever boy. And so then they show you this thing, how amazing it is, and it looks so cool as it comes flying back to Earth. And then there's one point where they talk about the fact of what if it doesn't land back in Florida? And the guy in the film says, then we'll get it a plane ticket. Then they show you that they made it so it can also attach to the top of a plane, so a plane can fly this thing home. Really cool. Anyway, the screen, the big cinema screen you've been watching it on, it suddenly becomes transparent, and behind it, you can see Atlantis. It's there. And then, sorry, there's a huge helicopter going over. I just want to have a little look at that. Oh, that's a Sikorsky. That's a Sikorsky 76. Lovely. So, the screen reveals that this shuttle is there behind the screen, and then the screen lifts up, and it's there in front of you. I was like starstruck by it. It's right there. And you can go and 37 minutes. I'll put a picture of that. 37:15. Put the picture of it. 37:15. Atlantis. Brilliant. Just amazing to see it there, and then just learning all about it. And yeah, really well done. And just sort of there it is, and you can see all these sort of marks on it and everything that happened. It's been to space, so it would have been hit by stuff, and it's just incredible. And it helped build the International Space Station, so there it was, right in front of us. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I also, I'll tell you this quickly. A guy spoke to me there because I was wearing a Green Bay Packers hat. I've never been able to find a Green Bay Packers hat that fits me quite right. So I got this Green Bay Packers hat. I've actually got a picture of me and Denny's wearing it, so let's chuck that in there. 3816. 3816. Me in my hat. Me in my hat. Anyway, I saw a guy earlier on. He sort of looked at me, and then he saw me later on, and he said, "Go Pack Go." And I was like, "Oh, cheesehead." That's what I found out was the best thing to say back. It means you're a Packers fan. We spoke about it for a while, and I thought, how nice. Turns out, not that common to see around, probably outside of Green Bay. I thought maybe it'd be more common. Anyway, loved this hat. It was perfect. And the guy I bought it off, he worked at Lids. His cousin plays for Green Bay. So I was like, this is perfect. Love the hat. Love this hat. I then wanted to take the hat with me to fly home. I didn't want to put it in the suitcase in case it got crushed. So I had it in the car. So I drove back. I don't know what happened. I've been in the airport for about an hour, and I just went, "Where's my hat? Where's my hat?" All I could think of was it was put in the back of the car. Maybe it had fallen down and gone under the seat. So I messaged them, the car rental place. And I thought, let me just... So I messaged them and told them I'd left the hat in the car, and reported the thing. I emailed them as well. I said, I'm still around if anyone can get in, if you can get it. I'm still at the airport, but they said you have to come to us, and I couldn't get out and then come back into the airport, so I was sort of a bit stuck. And anyway, then they messaged me and said they weren't able to find it. But that's the only place it could be. It was in the car with me, because I had it on the dashboard, then it went to the back of the car, so unless it's gone under the seat. And then they've emailed and they've said, can you send us a picture? So I sent a picture of me wearing it, which is the one I just used. And they said, that car's gone again. It's been rented out again, so we'll ask the family when they return if they found it in there. But surely the car's been cleaned. How do you not find it? Anyway, this, another loud... Oh, it's the Sikorsky going around. Oh, I mustn't be able to land at the heliport, so it's doing a big old loop. Got to see it again. So anyway, this type of hat, it's I've got another hat in that style, but they're always a little bit different. Where's another one? They're 47, but they're called like 47 used or something. 47 used. So they fit like an old, sort of like the hat's been worn in a bit. But they don't all fit like this. They don't all fit quite the same. This is the best fitting one I've got until the Green Bay one. And I lost it. So I've ordered 4 from the internet, because even though it's the same type and style, they all fit a bit differently. Each of them fits slightly different. So I've ordered 4 and hope that one of them at least matches the one I had before. Because until then, I've got loads, but they all just fit a bit differently. And I can't quite figure it out. Anyway, I lost that hat, so hopefully I get it back. But yeah, that was a real sour ending to the holiday. Let me go into some comments. I mean, I've only got a few days into the holiday, so next week I can do some more. An extra part 2 of my holiday. But let's go into some comments. And this might also lead to some more anecdotes about the holiday. Oh, 42 minutes. That's gone quickly, hasn't it? Comments. I just need to do a bit of a burp, sorry. Excuse me. Lisa Miller. Glad you are all checked in and looking forward to hearing about the full Hull holiday, but Hull, I don't know how to say it when people just put HOL on the next pod. You've had half the Hull so far. I have had a UK theme park weekend at Chessington, and tomorrow is your old employer Legoland. It is. Probably as warm in Surrey / Windsor as it is in Florida, in fairness. But obviously the parks aren't quite as epic, and no gators here. Hope you enjoy the rest of your break. Lovely, thank you very much. Yeah, it probably was as hot from what I've heard. But I didn't quite do the parks this time. But as I was going through the airport, I went into the Universal Studios shop. I wonder if I didn't put my hat down in there, did I? And you hear the sound. It had the Mario World. E.T. was there, and I was thinking I should have gone to this one. I love Universal Studios. I might have to go back just to go to the studios. I love Universal Studios, and I didn't go. And just hearing the sounds as you walk around and seeing the stuff, I was like, wish I'd gone there, actually. So, yeah, maybe I'll go back. Alison, nice to see you on Holes. God, you love Holes. Here I am watching Countdown, and you are nowhere to be seen. Realise it's 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown later. Yes, just to be clear, I was on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. I was not on Countdown. I wasn't just, yeah. So if that wasn't clear. But yeah, I was on the comedy one, being a comedian. So hopefully you got to see that, Alison. Nick J. Mill. Horchata. Oh yeah, Horchata. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Horchata / Horchata. Pronunciation. The first H is silent. Okay, Orchata. The CH is pronounced as in English, so like church, channel. Okay, so Orchata. Orchata. So I had Orchata. Well, that was a cinnamon drink I had from 7-Eleven. I absolutely loved it. Didn't have another one, actually. Low Ed. Catcher in the Rye. Or maybe that's supposed to be loved, but the V's gone. This is from Gasquatch. Loved Catcher in the Rye so much in high school that I didn't return my copy to the school. That's a classic. That's a classic, isn't it? But that's nice, because you're sort of taking a memory. That's nice to do, I think. My sister did that with a book when we were younger, a book called Buddy. I've not been able to find it as an adult, this book. Called Buddy. And I remember she read it and she loved it, and she gave it to me and I read it and I loved it. Not been able to find it, so I think she kept a copy. Jane Faraway. Lovely of you to check in while you're on Holes. Another Holes! I've never seen so many. I quite like doing that, a shorter episode, so maybe we can do that as we go on. If I've got something really going on, because I just sat on the balcony and just recorded for half an hour. It felt nice and relaxed. So I'm glad you all appreciated that, and I enjoyed checking in with you as well. I held my breath during the tense moment. Oh yeah, when the car stopped. Look forward to next Monday. I hope you're enjoying it. Keep safe. Thanks, Jane. Julie, appreciate you taking time to check in from what sounded like the set of Miami Vice. I will say this. I was staying an hour away from Miami. And I wasn't sure, I think, on the last episode, whether I was going to go or not. I'll save it for next week. I went to Miami. I'll save it for next week's episode. May have to watch the Kyrgyzstan episode you mentioned again. That was World's Most Dangerous Roads. Always a challenge to not overindulge in the US. Pretty sure it's... Okay, this is about the pronunciation. Yep. Oh, you had it in Arizona. Oh, you've had it. Did you get any books at the bookshop? Have a good rest. Take care out there. And look forward to hearing more next week. And then best quote is, it's like find out that Manchester doesn't have moths. Oh, yeah, that was about... what was that about? Oh, different parts of America having different animals. So I got 2 books from the bookshop, which is not my usual rule. My usual rule is 1 book per place. However, you'll see the reason why it was 2. I got... Oh, my giddy God. I got... Lincoln, a novel by Gore Vidal. So I wasn't sure. It was only $2.48. That's good, isn't it? And it's like a... How do you word it? Sort of historical fiction. But I thought, what a good way to learn. And I like American history. And I've never read anything by Gore Vidal, so I thought, I'll get that. Looked like a pretty... It's like that sort of thing as well when I was growing up that my dad would have on his bedside table or something. My dad would never have read that, but it looks good, I think. So I'm excited to read that. Currently reading Agatha Christie. And then there went on. What did I read when I was away? I read Elisa Jewell. So I also got second book. The second book I got was called Bookstore Passport. So it's not actually a book, but what happens is, whenever you go to a new bookshop, you can get it stamped. So the lady in the shop stamped it for me, and that says, Barrel of Books and Games, 403 North Donnelly Street, Mount Dora. How cool is that? So you get it stamped, and I have to take it away with me when I go on my travels. $13.99, a lot more expensive than that book. But yeah, lovely little thing to have. So that's the books I got there. Hello, Jake. This is Ryu from the No Hands World Cup books. Oh, this is the book I got as a gift. It's about the Brazilian World Cup. Thanks so much for the shout out. I even made a sale through you. What a lovely Monday. Whatever Monday, listen to this and bought that book, let me know. That's lovely. Please keep up the good work, and thanks again. You keep up the good work, please, because that book was amazing. I'd love to know where you're based and if you've got anything else. Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Ro. A good hand. Love it when you talk to Richard Parker and your voice changes to your cat voice. I have one too. Oh, yeah. I was a bit bashful about that early on in the podcast, but as in when this whole series started, but I think I've got a bit used to doing it. Then we got some books. So let me just go to, because I often forget to, the comments in YouTube. So I'm just going to jump to my videos. And yes, sorry, also I was on Catstars Countdown. I did mention that briefly earlier. So I'll talk about that next week as well. In case, because if you saw it, if you've got any questions, it was on Channel 4 in the UK on Friday night. If you have any questions, you can post them this week and I'll answer them next week about that. Rest and relaxation, Jake. Oh, R&R. I didn't know what it stood for. Love that you're in the States with us for a bit. Yes, and I'll be there a lot more over the next few years. Where are you based? I will be in New York and LA in November, and then all over next year. So yeah, let me know where you're based. You'll be fine in the water. Just look out for the coloured flag indicators. Was I okay in the water? Well, I'll elaborate on this more next week. But when I got into the sea, few people quickly got out because they'd all seen a fin. And then I have to wait till next week's episode because I've got more of the holiday to talk about. But you'll be fine in the water. Just look up the colour flag indicators. I never go too far out just because the ocean is so intimidating to me and to me. And I can't believe if a shark kills someone, they go and put the shark down. I'm like, The shark's trying to survive. That's just... You can't kill a shark for that. That's the death sentence. Just bringing back the death penalty. Depends what state you're in, I guess. Also, what were you going to say about Last Chance U? You were talking about young people here, but the sirens interrupted you. Love that series. I don't know. I love Last Chance U. Last Chance U is a series on Netflix, and it's about people who maybe have been in a bit of trouble. They're in high school, and it's trying to get them to get the qualifications and the American football experience, so they can go through to college to graduate to enter the NFL. And they're a bit troubled, or one of them is like living out of his car, but they've just got so much drive and they're so talented, but they've got other things going on. So these lesser, I guess they're high schools, are they? Yeah, I think that sort of age. So it's called U as in university, but I think it actually is that, is it? And then they sort of look after them and just try and get them to graduation and just try and get them back on the right tracks. And I guess I might have been saying that even though it's supposed to be like the lower level, their field that they play on are still amazing. Was it maybe that? They've still got amazing facilities and stadiums. Was I maybe saying that? But I'll check. Love the check-in, Jake. Thanks, Angela. Has me even more looking forward to next week's episode. I hope it hasn't let you down. Hope you're having a lovely restful holiday this week. Thank you. It was a bit of everything. I've been shattered since I got back. I got back landed about 7 a.m. on Friday. Got home. Didn't want to actually go to bed to sleep. I just thought I'll have a shower and have a tea, not force myself to sleep. And then I lay down on the sofa, put a podcast on, and I slept for about 2 hours. Went downstairs, the bed looked very comfortable, got into that for 45 minutes. Felt fine. After that, I was up, had some work to do, replied to some emails. Went and did a food shop, put some washes on. I was back. This was great. Went to bed about 12, woke up at 9, slept for 9 hours. Laid in bed for a bit. I thought, you know what, I'm going to take it easy. Laid in bed till 10. Turned over, thought I'd just close my eyes for a little bit. Woke up at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Thought, right, okay. Did not expect that to happen. Was also going to my friends last night in Windsor. My best friend Jamie and his wife Rachel and their children. Go and see them. No, wait, was that the next day? Saturday. Yes, it was. Yes, that was yesterday. So I went to see them, which meant last night I got to sleep at about 2:30. Woke up today at 1 o'clock again. So I realised what's happened there is I'm basically still living on Florida time, because that basically means 2:30. I went to bed at about 9:30 and then just slept. I'm sort of still on. So today it's now 6:30 and it feels like it should be about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I've sort of slightly screwed myself over. But I tell you what, sleeping until what? I mean, it's the time you get away with it. You can blame it on jet lag, and my body's switching off and just having this to do. But this is nice; it gives you something to do. And I like checking in, and it just feels like I'm being productive as well. And it means later on I can sit down, I can watch Marty Supreme with some popcorn. So what I did was, when I was in Mount Dora, they sell this thing. It's from Amish country, they say. So you can make your own popcorn, and then you put, I think it's like salted caramel flavour powder you can put on it. So I'm make my own popcorn and sit and watch Marty Supreme, because I've done some work today. So I can never fully switch off. Even when I was away, I made 2 reels. There are historians showing people a modern day hotel. Fun to make, fun to put out. Lovely. What did you ask? I hope you're having a lovely restful holiday. Yeah, I did. Take care out there, Jake. See you next week. Thank you. I think you should pop down to Miami for a day. South Beach is the touristy part, but I might recommend areas like Brickell or Coral Gables. I lived in Miami for 2 years and I thought it wouldn't suit me, Midwestern gal, but I loved it. Lots of great food options, Cuban especially. Jill? Wait for next week's episode. Miami. Yeah, I'll be more on Miami. Gargle with warm salt water a few times a day for the mouth ulcers. Oh, yeah. So those mouth ulcers, today's the first day where I feel normal. I had it since then, so it was a week. I spoke to you on Sunday, and that was a really tough day with the ulcers, or in America, canker sores. Then today, they've just finally gone enough where tomorrow I'll be 100%. Problem is, I have these ulcers. I put Ambisol on, I put this stuff on. It hurts to eat, so you don't eat, so you get a bit low energy, and then they're just tiring to deal with. I'm going to have to go to the doctor and be like, what have you got? And then I spoke to Rachel last night, and she says she actually has something above that because she's got low iron. There's like something she takes that's stronger. I might have to take that because I think it's an iron deficiency. And I take iron, gentle iron, and I take B complex to help me absorb the iron. And I'm careful with what I eat, but I've got to do something because when they get me, do they get me? Horchata, H is silent. Not too bad for you, but if it has too much sugar, then not good. Yeah, I can't imagine the 7-Eleven one is that good for you, but lovely. P.S. Alligators can be dangerous in Florida, but it's rare. They can run surprisingly fast, I've heard. I could be wrong. No, they can. They can run very fast. They say if you're being chased by one to run in a zigzag shape because they can't do that so much. I love the wildlife in Florida. This does not include MAGA population. Oh, yeah. Alligator talk is hilarious. You may not believe this about cold sores, but they're also called sugar sores. If sugar gets cut out, they will go away quicker. Also vinegar and acidic stuff irritates them more. Stress a factor too. Yeah, not cold sores, which I think you can get from kissing people. Mouth ulcers or canker sores is what I had. And I don't mind the pain if you can put stuff on it. And I actually went on a Reddit thread and somebody said they actually heated up some metal wire and stuck it straight on there and it covered up. But they said, I don't recommend it, but I was on my last resort and I was like, that is bad, isn't it? If it's got that bad that you're burning it. But mind you, when you were younger, what was it people would get on their feet? And luckily I never had one. Warts on their hands. People, you go to the doctor and they would say, you can either burn this off or freeze it off. Which one do you want? Luckily I never had them. That was a thing. Are they still around? Maybe they died out. Right. There actually will be a lot more comments because I didn't go through comments on last week's episode, did I? So I'm probably missing out on quite a few here. So I've probably got a few more that I might have to go through. So sorry if I've missed any comments, but that was lovely. And yeah, this is definitely going to have to be a two-parter for me to talk more about the holiday. I'm just trying to think what else we've got to talk about. Disney Boardwalk. West Palm Beach. Miami. Sharks. Yeah, plenty more to talk about. Plus also this week, by the way, if you're around in these places, on Saturday I'm in Nottingham. And I'm not sure where that is actually, but I'm just Nottingham, and then not till I've only got 2 gigs this month. Saturday in Nottingham, then on the 29th down in Totton, I think near Southampton, but I'm just doing half an hour, and it'll be a bit of new stuff, bit of old stuff. So if you're interested, there's that. Right. Thank you. Let me check I haven't missed anything out that I'm supposed to say to you this week. I've started to write some notes down just so I can remember what I'm going to talk to you about. Oh, I'll tell you what, there was one. Which was Vivian. Do you remember Vivian? She messaged me to tell me that 28 was lucky in Hong Kong. She also messaged and said, hello, Jake. This was probably referring to an episode 2 weeks ago. Hello, Jake. A couple of listeners were talking about things in Japan on last week's episode. And by some mysterious coincidence, I was visiting Tokyo last week. Wow. I've always wanted to go there. It's that's probably number 1 of where I want to go. Well, actually, I'm going to LA. And I'm going there for work, and I'll be out there quite a bit. But I've never been. I'm excited to go there. LA would be up there. And Tokyo is number one of just because obviously such a different culture. I've always wanted to go, and I know LA feels a lot more accessible. Tokyo, yeah. And I can ask for enough. I can talk enough to get past, get by. I think is the term. Like if I want what to say? If I want green tea and sushi, ocha ta sushi kodasai, or mizu water. Konnichiwa. I can get by. Like gohan for rice, sushi. I need to find out how to ask for vegetarian sushi. Ocha. I wonder if they do horchata in Tokyo. Probably not. Where was I? I was visiting Tokyo last week and listened to my message being read out while walking on the streets of Tokyo. The idea that you're walking around Tokyo listening to my podcast. Love that. I visited a place in Tokyo which I would like to share with you. You don't have to read it out though. Oh, it may be boring to read out correspondence from me again. Well, here we are, Vivian. I'll let you know. This is a temple in Tokyo where there are thousands of lucky cats. I don't know if you know what they are. I guess they're quite iconic, so you may have seen them around in shops or Japanese restaurants. Basically, they bring luck and good fortune, but there's a difference between raising right arm and raising left arm. Vivian, this is not boring at all. This is great. You've come to the right place. At this Gotokuji temple in Tokyo, visitors can purchase lucky cat figurines and bring them home, and obviously the cat will bring good things to you. But what's interesting is, once your wish is fulfilled, you are advised to bring the cat back to the temple to give thanks. Hence, there are thousands of cats being displayed on shelves, and I even saw cat photos as well. Anyway, I think the whole concept is lovely, and since you're a cat lover, I think you should know about this. 63 minutes put in photos of cats. Look at all these cats. They've all got their right arm up. Have they all got the right arm? I can only see the right arm raised. What would left arm raised mean, please, Vivian? But let me make a note of that. Wow. 63 minutes. Cat photos. Cat photos from Vivian. So you said in that message, there was a bit there you said. What was it? They bring luck and good fortune, but there's a difference between raising right arm and raising left arm. Can you explain what that means? Because these, as far as I can tell, they've all got their right arm raised. Now, these aren't the ones, by the way, if you're only listening to this, not watching, they're not the classic gold one that waves. They're white with a red collar and a red ear. And it's lovely that you take them back to give thanks, which is a lovely thing to do. Also, a great business model, isn't it? Because you have to go twice. And you take the cat back. And then what, do they sell them again? Because if they then sell them again, the business model is impeccable. Impeccable, is that the right word I wanted there? I mean, it's great. Right. Oh, and there's photos of them as well. And photos of cats. This is lovely. I want to go there. Oh, I can't wait to do an episode from Tokyo. And I will. Right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for listening, or for watching, or for both. I hope you had a great week. I hope you have a great week. And as always, I'll see you next Monday. Bye.